space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission to review every episode and movie of Star Trek in existence. You thought I said before we get cancelled. They can't cancel us. I have the keys.
They can tow you, though. They can tow you.
To seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable. To boldly go where many other Star Trek-based YouTube shows have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers worldwide, and welcome to a live episode of Trekkin Up North. I am one of your hosts, Captain Goodwill of the Starship Adequate, and joining me, finally, because for the last few weeks he's gone no piss off, it's the delectable Geesian from the planet Honk. It's Honk. Science Officer... Hang on, I forgot your name. Hang on. Hang on.
Jeff. Science Officer Jeff.
Jess, no. Jeff, no.
Synoiz.
It's Synoiz. It is Synoiz. Oh, how the hell have you been?
We're talking as if we weren't literally on a podcast together yesterday.
Yes, we did a pilot episode for something very top secret that went completely and utterly wrong. And what's so funny...
It went so wrong that the guy was like, maybe I shouldn't put this out. And we're like, no, this is hilarious because it's utter chaos. We need to do this.
Just a little inkling as to the chaos. Gail Platt after E.T. money dried up. I woke up and I came back into the office this morning and I
still have this.
Yeah, and I just looked at the papers. Hang on, I'm going to have to get mine. Don't look at my ass.
You'll have to keep your eyes tuned on this channel to find out what this is all relevant to.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gail Platt in Coronation Street, or she is...
None of our non-UK viewers are going to understand who Gail Platt is.
Or as lesser educated people may call her E.T. And then obviously Jack and
finger
Rose...
that lights up.
Jack and Rose on the Titanic, right at the front. But you'll have to keep your eyes peeled on this channel to find out. Are you Jess today? Am I Jess today? Am I Jess today?
Do you feel like Jess?
Maybe. We can't.
What's your knowledge of Buffy like?
Extensive, but I don't like Doctor Who. So
yeah, that's a good point. That is how you tell that you're not Jess.
Yeah, I have an affinity for Fillion. But thank you so much to everyone who has turned up live. We've got the wonderful recommendations. We've got Beth. We've got Leonard Dex here. We have got the magnificent Shed from Nice France. I had to think about that there because it's been a while. I know. I've been spending some time in. I can't think. But yeah. Thank you, Titanic featuring Big Mommy Milkers. You are on the wrong channel, Beth. But yes, welcome to everybody in the chat. I hope you are well. We are here finally because the Double Wheel of Honor gave us an absolute belter of an episode, critically acclaimed, one of the best Star Trek episodes of all time. It is, of course, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 13, Far Beyond the Stars. Oh my God.
I want to start this by just saying thank you to you, Goodwill, because you are the one who put this in the Dabber Wheel of Honor. Because when we were working out what our best and worst episodes were, I had to kind of go, hey, I can't have too many from the same season. And I went like, hey, what am I want from Deep Space Nine? And obviously I went In the Pale Moonlight and Duet. And that's what I did from DS9. And the rest of them, I was like, okay, I need to represent Voyager. I need to represent Next Generation. So the reason why we're reviewing this is because you put this in the wheel. And I'm so glad because it's such an incredible bit of television or cinema or anything. This is a landmark, groundbreaking episode of anything.
This is this is probably the pinnacle of Star Trek, with no spaceships or anything like that. This was Emmy nominated 3 times, didn't win. But it was essentially the powerhouse of Avery Brooks pulled all of this together, and what we got, the final product that we got is some of the most moving television we've ever witnessed, and still to this day delivers an extremely poignant message about race, about privilege, about the ability to hope for a better tomorrow, only to have those hopes crushed right in front of you. And it's not a happy ending. It's not a happy ending.
I don't know though. It's an interesting one because the whole point of this episode, okay, for anyone who hasn't watched it, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it, please. Come back to this later.
Yeah.
The whole point of this episode is that Captain Sisko is losing faith. He's stuck in the middle of the war. He's tired of seeing friends die. He's struggling with the responsibility that's on his shoulders.
He's weary.
He's thinking about quitting.
Yeah.
And the prophets, which are obviously the gods of Bajor, they send him this vision that reasserts his faith and allows him to kind of go, actually, I'm needed here, I need to do this, and kind of reminds him that he needs to keep going. And so it is a positive ending in that regard. And it's also what I'll probably talk about it later, but right at the end of the episode, I think there's a very positive message, which is that when you're in the middle of the fight, you think that things can't be worse than they are. You think that, like, when horrible stuff is happening to you, when you're being oppressed, you go, hey, oh well, what's the point? It's never going to get better. But then you remember that it is better. It is far better than it was. Like the fact of now we have all of these, like all the fight that, like, the trans community and the queer community overall are having to sort of go through at the moment. But then you look back and you go, whoa, well, at least it's not as bad as it was 30 years ago or 40 years ago. And you acknowledge that progression. And I think that's what's important in this episode, where at the end of the episode, he's kind of going, yeah, actually, things are really hard and I am really struggling, but at least it's not where we were back in, the 1940s, 1950s. Yeah, when I had that vision. And I think that's kind of good. It's taking stock of going, no, things do get better. And while it is one step forward, 2 steps back.
It's in terms of the story. I mean, it's not a happy ending for Benny Russell, as we can see. But it is the way that this entire episode is directed, is scripted, is filmed, is just absolutely astonishing. They fully utilized the backlot at Paramount in LA for this, and it is absolutely beautifully done. And we have to, straight out of the gate, we'll get to the story, but straight out of the gate, Avery Brooks's performance throughout this episode is absolutely tremendous. And the breakdown scene, that is so passionate, that is so genuine. When I was reading up on this episode, that he remained down for so long, and I'm going to throw this headset out of the window because it keeps dying. He remained down for so long. No one knew when he would say cut, because obviously he was directing this episode. No one knew, but he was that in character, that emotional, that it really affected him, and he stayed down.
Well, he's very passionate. Like, that's the thing that everyone said about Avery Brooks during DS9, is that he was a totally different person off camera, and that when he was acting, he was very much in character. He was very much sort of passionate about his role and whatnot. So him going so deep into this character and being so sort of passionate, especially in that scene, like the breakdown scene, which is it's a harrowing moment of cinema because you genuinely, I challenge anyone to watch this and not feel a shred of empathy and not
Yeah,
feel a moment of going, oh, but what if that was me in that situation? What if
yeah,
my race or my culture was in that situation? And although it is hilarious in one sense because I heard the story that basically that once he'd fallen down, once he was like crying on the floor, that he kept doing it for minutes. And I thought to myself, like, wow, it must have been so passionate and so powerful that like the director just didn't want to call cut. And then you read also, he was the director, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, well, it probably doesn't stop until he actually says it does.
yeah.
So it's kind of, yeah. And so I kind of like the idea of, did he forget? Like, did they just keep rolling because he was like,
It was. I mean, the thing is, as well, this was his first directorial debut in DS9.
really?
This was his first episode. Now,
Did not know that.
normally in production, the sort of like, well, if the character, if that's the character, if Avery's character is the main focus, but he's also directing, it's kind of very hard to direct yourself. So there's a lot of apprehension, and he wasn't down. He wasn't billed to direct this episode. But he ended up directing it, and there was a lot of apprehension on, will he be able to pull it off? Directorial debut. He is the lead role in the episode. He's got the most, in the script, he's got the most words. And you have to think, for your directorial debut in DS9, to be the main character, to direct every shot to make sure that it is perfect. And people said, like, he threw everything at this episode. He was an absolute perfectionist when it came to this episode, and it shows. It absolutely shows. And you have to think, like, the sheer amount of the toll that it must have taken on Avery Brooks to do all this for this episode.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind they have a tight schedule. I believe they had a 5-day. It's a 5-day filming schedule back in the day.
Well, imagine sort of doing the power of his scenes, and then
Yeah.
you get like a day off to recover, and they're like, right, okay, on to the next episode.
Yeah, back on to the next episode, and you're like, wait, what? What? But I mean, the story itself. Hang on, everything seems to have died system-wise. There we go. The story itself, I love that the Prophets give him this vision, but I love that they just incorporated nearly all the actors in DS9 into this vision. Aaron Eisenberg as the...
They do incorporate everyone, don't they?
No,
like,
they don't. Garrick's
who
missing.
isn't there? Well, he isn't there like a regular character though. He could be there.
The main characters are there, but yes, I mean JG Hertzer is the writer, so
they don't have
Martok
Lisa or Rom.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, to have like most of the characters just playing different ones in there and just utilizing them like that, it's absolutely fantastic. But it also lends credence to the fact, as we know at the end of the episode, spoiler alert, it's 30 years old, but lends to the credence that this is all in Benny's mind, and all the people that he knows around him are these characters in Deep Space Nine. And like the antagonists there are Wei-Young and Gul Dukat when they're just two racist cops, and that the father is literally his father. Do you know what I mean? It's oh god, yeah.
Well, it does a great job because a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure they all came after this. Like, because I know that there's an episode of Buffy where it pulls the whole kind of like, oh well, actually, you wake up in the real world and you think you're a vampire slayer and stuff. But that was like 4 or 5 years after this.
Really?
Well, maybe 3. It was after it. But it's the idea of like, this does it so incredibly well because it comes back to it later, and whether they intended that, we revisit Benny at the beginning of season 7.
Yes.
And where it kind of just shows like, hey, we still don't actually know whether it's real or not. But I think the main point though is it doesn't matter because both stories are relevant, whether it's Benny dreaming of a better future and dreaming of DS9 and like space communism, or whether it's Cisco looking back, getting visions of the past in order to get through this fight that he's currently in.
Yeah.
then they're both relevant, I think. And
I remember reading about this, and Ira Stephen Bear was very much for the idea that DS9 is the conception of Benny Russell, and that this is all in Benny Russell's head. And people saying to him, "You will literally completely rewrite the origin of Star Trek and what Star Trek is, and it will piss off Rick Berman." And Ira just turning around and going, "I don't care about any other Star Trek." And you have to have mad respect for Ira to say that, where it's just like, he only cared for DS9. That was his baby. And just say that and just say, "I don't care. DS9 is the conception of Benny Russell."
The only reason why DS9 is as good as it is because he just said "fuck you" to everyone. He basically just went, "Hey, cool, I'm gonna do this." That's the only reason we have this episode, because you know for a fact that there will have been a lot of people at the studio being like, "Oh well, like the talk that does Odo's alter ego ever get named? Like the actual the
boss.
Editor? Yeah,
I can find out for that if you want to talk.
I don't think he gets a name, and I don't think Bashir's character gets a name. I listened for them when I was rewatching it, but because Kira's called Casey Hunter, but I don't know what Bashir's called, and I don't know what Oda's called. But effectively, the editor has the whole line of just going like, "Oh, you can't do that. Like, there'll be riots in the street if you like do this sort of controversial thing," and there will have been people at the studio acting exactly like that. And then you're just like, but this is set 40 years before this was filmed. And it hadn't moved on that much. Like, people still would have been complaining about this episode, getting made. Like, going, "Oh, we're going to step on some toes."
It was Armin Shimmerman's most favourite episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'm
probably because he didn't have to wear the prosthetics, but
I'm looking for the name. I know it was just like, that's the principal from Buffy. I'm looking at the name and I'm trying to find it, but Darlene Kursky was Jadzia Dax, which Terry Farrell. I mean, it was a minor role.
Yeah.
It was a minor role. We had Willie Hawkins as Worf. Jake Sisko was Jimmy. Now, in the original story, it was actually going to be Jake Sisko that was the lead character in this story, and he was traveling back in time because an alien took him back to the 1950s because he wanted to learn something. And then it turned out that he was. Let me just have a look. There was an actual. Go on.
I'm going to be very mean here. I think that would have ruined it. Because one of my only criticisms of this episode is that Jake isn't actually very good. I know he's still learning his trade, but the acting on his part, it's a sharp contrast to everyone else in the cast.
So here's the original.
So having him as the lead would have been.
Here is the original pitch for the story. So Mark Scott Zachry's original pitch focused on Jake Sisko, and rather than actually experiencing a vision, he travelled through time back to the 1950s and met a group of struggling science fiction writers. However, at the end of the episode, it was revealed that he never time travelled at all. It was all part of a trick played on him by an alien who wanted to find out something about humanity. Ira Stephen Bear didn't like the idea, saying it felt a little bit too gimmicky. There was no bottom to the story. He turned it down. However, Bear liked the backdrop concerning science fiction writers in the 1950s setting, so he kept that in mind. And several months later, he decided to switch the protagonist from Jake to his father and introduce the theme of racism. In an unusual break from protocol, for Ira Stephen Bear, I mean, come on, there's nothing unusual. Bear then pitched the idea to Zachry and asked him to write a story based upon it. Zachry did this, and Bear took Zachry's story outline along with Hans Beimler's composed script and then formed Far Beyond the Stars. In Zachry's outline, Michael Dorn's character was a boxer, not a baseball player. He was romantically involved with a white woman, which was discovered by racist policemen who subsequently beat him to death.
Right.
This killing was then replaced by the shooting of Jimmy in the finished episode. Also, in Zachry's version, Armin Shimmerman's character got encouraged by Russell's breakdown to go ahead and publish his Benjamin Sisko story. The drawing, the drawing entitled "Honeymoon on Andoris" did not have a title in the original script, but obviously they whacked it in as an ad lib. But yeah, so it was going to be Willie that would have been beaten to death for dating a white woman.
The thing is, obviously, I'm very critical of Jake's performance in this, and I think I would have liked that. And I think that would have been a really interesting sort of like thing to play on, because obviously it has the whole like, hey, because yeah, hold on, I'll get to that in a moment. But I think Willie having a crush on Cassie and sort of constantly flirting with her is really good. Like, I think it helps the story because, like, Benny and Cassie's relationship in this one, the same way that we have it in DS9, where, like, DS9 was landmark because it went, look, it's a black father and son, and they have a healthy, loving relationship. You know, that doesn't exist on TV. That doesn't exist on TV, like, with white people there. You know, it doesn't exist in Star Trek, Cough Wharf. But then, you know, and then seeing this one where it basically has Cassie and Benny having this wonderful, deep, loving connection to the point where she's turning down like this famous baseball star and whatnot for him. I think that means something. But one thing I don't know when to get to this, but we in the episode we have a wonderful solidarity between Benny and the other writers. Like he is the only black writer in that whole like sort of firm. I don't know what it's called, the studio.
Yeah, just a publisher.
Publishing house.
Yeah.
He's the only black writer there. And none of them comment on it. Like, none of them care. They all love him. They are friends with him. They are like, you know, they are there for him, and they don't bat an eyelid, and they're fully supportive of his story and everything. And it shows this lovely progressiveness, you know? But one criticism I did have is that it only goes so far.
Yeah.
As in, like, we have it where when he takes time off work, it's clear that none of them have phoned him, none of them have visited him. Like, they might not even know his actual address, or that at that time they would never dare to visit his neighborhood. You know, so even though they are allies and they're great, especially sort of Herb, like Armin Shimmerman's character, you know, it only goes so far, and that is a minor criticism of mine of them. But
I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say it's a criticism. I would say it accurately portrays.
No, that's it. Yeah, it is. It's accurate.
Yeah, it's very accurate, and you know, they might be supportive and they might be for the time extremely progressive, but they are science fiction writers. But again, it also shows that even when he's out of action for weeks after he's beaten up by the police, that none of them go and visit him, none of them speak to him or anything like that. And it's
almost like our workmates. It's almost like when we work in an office, you have these people, and 9 to 5 they're your friends, but they're not. You know, that whole thing of going, well, actually, you know, when you leave off it, like it's why a lot of people, I kind of go, why are you focusing so heavily on your like work relationships with people when these aren't actually friends a lot of the time, you know? And like, work gets more difficult when they are actually friends, you know?
But it shows that, like, besides that, he has a life outside of work. He has friends outside of work. He's a very solitary man, but he still has friends outside of work. He still has a relationship outside of work, and he's got that. I hate this. He's got that work-life balance. But it is very.
Are you upset because you don't have that?
Shh.
This is me being very real there, but
okay, moving on. But
we spent 8 hours on Twitch today. Goodwill.
But it is very, it is very telling, like, of that relationship that you would have with those work colleagues back then, where it's sort of a don't ask, don't tell. You can have all the respect in the world for someone, and we see it with Kira's character, where you know they want to do the photo earlier on in the episode, but she has to sleep in that day because the pen name that she has is a male, and they've got her down as a male because they believe that the readers will not be able to comprehend that a woman is an accomplished science fiction writer. Same with a black man as an accomplished science fiction writer. And it is wrong. It is extremely wrong. And we can look back at it and go, it's wrong. But back then it was sort of, yeah, we think it's wrong, but there's nothing really much that we can do about it. Or we could do something, but it's the repercussions of doing something about it.
That's exactly what I feel the point of the episode is, and what I think one of the major strengths of the episode is, because we can apply it to our situation now. We can apply it to, where we are in the world right now, because, like we have with the whole discussion where, Benny writes this amazing story and the editor is saying, hey, look, I can't publish this. Like, maybe in 50 years I can do it. But I can't publish it now because no one's going to find this believable. What, a black person in charge of a space station?
Yeah.
And, and we're laughing at it, being like, why the hell is he taking umbrage to this? But then here we are, having these same conversations now. Now, obviously, maybe we're not talking about black people necessarily, but we're going, a woman still can't be president. And, oh, well, a trans person still isn't a woman, all of these discussions we're still having. And then you realize it's because, and I think it's perfect that Herb calls him it, where he refers to it as personal cowardice, where this one editor is so scared about what other people will think and so scared about his losing his job or the issue not selling or something, that he's not going to take a risk, even though morally it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. That's 100%, and it shows. It also symbolizes what Gene Roddenberry accomplished with the original series of Star Trek, where it was like, hey, I've got a black comms officer. I've got a Russian and Japanese con officers. We have an alien as a scientist. If there were lesser producers than people like Lucille Ball and stuff, then it would have been like, oh, we can't do that. No, crazy. No one will ever believe this. Like what? A black woman on the bridge? Like what? Like a female first officer in the pilot? Yeah.
And it's the fact of Gene Roddenberry just being like, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah, why not?
I'm doing it, and that's how we get things. That's how we progress, That's how we have one of the best episodes of Star Trek is, I.S. Stephen Bear just being like, yeah, I'm doing it.
But this is the thing. I mean, this is what we have to realize, and what a lot of people don't know is DS9 flew under the radar a lot at Paramount. It was sort of the bastard child of Star Trek at the time. They had just finished The Next Generation. They had DS9, but then it was all hands on Voyager, and it was like, hey, Voyager's got to be the progressive one. We've got a female captain, and they're in the Delta Quadrant, and DS9 just sort of flew under the radar so much that Bear and the producers could just get away with doing stuff like that. And the fact that Bear openly said, I don't care. I'm going to do this, but this is just who he is, and this is why he is one of the best. One of the best showrunners, shall we say, producers, showrunners?
I'd say so. Definitely.
Of Star Trek's entire history, because we're able to get these episodes, and the fact where he's like, oh well, Avery's not really down to do this, but let's get Avery to do it anyway. Are you sure? Because he's also starring in it, and he's got the most script, and he has to. Yeah, fuck it.
And I think the important thing there is passion. This episode obviously meant a lot to him. And this is why we, when we have video games being absolute shit nowadays, I'm just going to put that out there. And it's because we just go, hey, the people who are passionate about stuff, fire them. Oh, we don't need them on the team. Let's just get anyone to do anything.
Because they challenge the norm. They question the authority, and they go against the grain. And a lot of companies do not like that. They like the conformity.
Only want to play safe. They only want to be like, hey, let's just do what's done before, exactly like the editor in this, where it's like, hey, look, robots, people like robots. Yeah, you can be safe with robots. You don't need to deal with racial discussions about robots. And it's exactly that. It's companies only caring about money, only caring about popularity, and never wanting to take risks. There's a very interesting comment in the chat from O'Sullivan Shawnee, pointing out that Casey Hunter in this episode is based on DC Fontana, who is one of the best Star Trek writers and was a woman. And yeah, had to hide it, hide behind an alias because people were like, "What? No, a woman can't write Star Trek, can't write
I mean, this is
sci-fi."
this is the thing. I mean,
Even
for
though
all.
Frankenstein was written by a woman,
I
it's
mean,
like,
again, you look at DC Fontana, you look at DC Fontana, and then you look at the progressiveness of the original series of Star Trek. The very last episode ends with the least progressive thing imaginable, where a woman is not allowed to be a starship captain. And you
so
think you've
bad.
had 79 episodes, and then suddenly someone pulls the handbrake and goes, I'm going to crash into this wall backwards. It's insane. But again, as a
Basically,
progressive...
it's failing on the dismount and somehow strangling yourself with the harness.
But as and enjoying it. But as a progressive series, what you have to realise, for the 50s and the 60s, there was progression, and then there was monumental discrimination still prevalent. So they were challenging, like, with when Abraham Lincoln says that word in the original series, he goes, no offense, and she goes, why would I be offended? And it's, wow, this is so progressive, this is fantastic. And then the last episode, a woman can't be a captain, and then you're going, it's like it's a hit and it's a miss, but it was still prevalent in the 60s. It was still prevalent in the 70s. And, as much as people don't like it, the 90s, the late 90s, the early 2000s, that's when stuff started to really break the mold and get out of there. And then we've had that regression. Yeah, we have had that regression in society again.
But that's the way it works, though. It's the fact that everything comes in waves. It's like, maybe it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, which I'd like to think is the case, where we're kind of, where we're having setbacks. Like at the moment, LGBT plus rights, like, are suffering. But I know that in 10, 20 years, they'll progress back to where they were and further. It's just that... the horrible fact of society, but it's like, and that's very much what this episode is about, the idea of like respecting where you've come from and kind of going, okay, cool, I can keep up with this fight.
I've just had an update from Duncan from Letterdex. Quick note, showrunner is typically used for the main executive producer in charge of the show, so that would have been Rick Berman. I would have said. Directors don't receive that designation. Now, I know Avery directed this, but obviously Ira Stephen Bear is one of the producers, and he was just...
I always thought he was the showrunner. I thought it was Rick Berman was the producer.
I'm going to get clarification.
In What We Left Behind, I think. But yeah. But
go on.
What do I want to talk about? Well, there's so much that I still want to talk about. Like, chat, what do you want to talk about this episode? What are your feelings on this? It's lovely having you here in this live episode, but I could just talk forever with this, if I'm perfectly honest.
Bourbon and Pillar were the creators. I need clarification now. I do apologise. Tangent, really.
But who was
the executive producer? He was the executive producer.
Right, okay. But who was everyone's favourite sort of character in this? Like, in terms of seeing these actors that playing different roles. So obviously having all the main actors from DS9, like sort of Kira and Dax and O'Brien, playing different characters. Which was everyone's favourite in the chat? Because
I mean, honestly, I would say Armin Shimmerman, Rene Auberjonois. I think they were absolutely fantastic because you still got the old Odo Quark rivalry there. But it was just it was a completely different context. And, to see Odo or Rene's, in the wrong when you think about it, where it's like it's Quark's normally the one in the wrong and Odo's the one slapping his wrist, but in this instance it's actually Odo, it's Rene's character that is in the wrong when it comes to the moral sense, and he doesn't have a backbone, and he plays it so well. But I mean, the fact that there's so many tiny things.
The chat's like, don't make us choose just one from recommendations.
You can't though, because this is the literal representation of an ensemble cast absolutely smashing it out the park. But it's the tiny little things. Colin cannot and never could do accents. Ooh.
I mean, potential. I didn't really notice, but to be fair, like having someone with an Irish twang in 1950s, like America, that's pretty normal because, as we know, Americans love their Irish heritage. You know,
they do, and you know it's kind of difficult to maintain an accent when you're surrounded by Keiko O'Brien. But it's the tiny little details in this episode that make it as well. Like when Armin's character Herb thinks he's going to quit, and he picks up a Hugo Award, and that Hugo Award was lent by Michael Piller, I believe. Yeah. I think it was his Hugo Award. The design for DS9 for Far Beyond the Stars, where they just give it like that 50s United States Air Force look. Comic book, not the comic book, the actual Fantastic Stories book that he picks up from the newsstand. That is
not. That's is it Genesis? It's whatever the rival publishing
the rival one.
Is. Yeah.
But they use a matte painting from one of the original series episodes for a Starbase. Oh yeah, it's tiny little details.
I did not know that.
There's so many tiny little details in this episode where it's stuff like that where they're using that 60s the original series heritage all the way through, and it's just absolutely wonderful. But I mean, the way that he sees his mind failing. And that he slowly starts breaking down, but he still maintains that composure, that professionalism, that I must maintain respect for my superiors. I must maintain. But then throughout that picture there, that's from a Starbase matte painting, Galaxy.
There we go. Yeah.
But he maintains it, and then it just slowly starts to chip away because he knows no matter how hard he works, no matter how much. He puts into this, he'll never get the recognition. He'll never achieve what he wants to achieve because
this is the thing, though. It's like, and he's wrong. It's the fact of, yes, it does feel like an uphill struggle, and yes, it does feel like he's, like he ends the episode in total despair, being like, we're never going to get anywhere. Like my culture, like my people, like society is never going to be able to accept a black captain. And then it's just like, maybe not now, but then like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, after it. And it's kind of, and that's what I think is the positive afterwards. Like, yes, it ends badly for Benny in that moment, but it's the fact of there is always going to be like, a morning after the night, I don't know what the phrase is, but it's that idea, like at the moment we're looking at the situation being like, wow, things are bleak. We have like a bloody orange pack-led in the White House, we have all of these awful things going on in the world, but we know that they can get better because we've seen that they can get better. It's just we can't be expecting them right now. It's that's the issue.
O'Sullivan Shawnee says Odo is morally in the right, but he feels constricted.
I think it's the fact that I don't know if he's morally in the right, but I think he's a character who knows.
He knows what to do. Yeah, he knows.
I think he knows what is morally right.
Yeah,
but then he's kind of not acting on it, and I would say that is worse than being stupid. I'd say knowing what you should be doing, but going, oh, I can't do that because I'll get judged, is like, actually, sorry, can I take us on a tangent and talk about something that I'm not going to get emotional, but it was a weird thing that happened to me the other day, okay, where a close friend of mine, okay, who is straight, but we see the person, not the disability, but take that, Edris. But yeah. But a friend of mine who is straight has started dating a girl, and it's seeming very much like she is fairly homophobic. And it was a weird thing that we had a discussion about it, where it was the idea of me going like, yeah, but does that not feel weird for you? Like the fact of, like, how's she going to react to me and your other friends who are queer? And his response, and this is the main thing that this episode demonstrates, is how to do allyship, where it's the whole point of going, even if something doesn't affect you, it's still your responsibility to fight for the people because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's the measure of a man, really. Like
Yeah.
the idea of going, hey, yeah, so, yes, it might cause an argument. Yes, it might cause problems in your relationship, but that is denying my existence and other queer people's existence just for the sake of making your life and conversations more comfortable. And like this is the thing, it's like I am not a trans person. Like I'm a cis, I'm a cis gay white male, but I when someone says something about my my trans friends, or say something about trans people, I stand up for it, like I call them out on it. I say, "Hey, that's bullshit. What are you talking about?" And it might end in like fights, it might end in arguments, but that's what I do because that's what you need to do because people need to realize that they can't get away with this shit, you know?
Yeah.
And the problem we have in the UK right now is that people are allowed to get away with this shit. We have dickheads on Question Time who aren't getting challenged,
Yeah.
where no what like they're fixing the audience or they're sort of going, hey, actually let's just not call them out on that lie that they said or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just empowers the dickheads out there to go to
Because they
that
realize that they have a platform and they would know that there will be no one to prevent them or question their beliefs or challenge them on them. And this is just look at the last 10 years, man. Just look at the last 10, 15 years. It's just we're just going straight down. I also love the fact, a quick tangent, in the pilot of the game show last night, I was categorized as the DEI edition because I'm
because
straight.
you weren't gay, a woman, or maybe it was because you were ginger.
I'm not.
I don't
I'm
know.
not gay. I'm not a woman. I'm straight, white, and I have hair.
It was literally
and I'm
it was like
ginger.
it was like we were making a joke of these people that you genuinely see, like these reform sort of right-wing idiots on Facebook and stuff, where they're going, oh, white people will be the minority soon, and you're like, just shut up. Like, it's like that is not based in any kind of reality whatsoever. But if you need that
Yeah.
fallacy to exist so that you can feel threatened by, other people living their lives, then go fuck yourself.
It's
Sorry.
fine. I've already painted my first roundabout in protest, so it's absolutely fine.
But I love the idea of us calling you the DEI hire.
I kind of am when you think about it. I do fit the slots. I'm ginger. I'm mentally disabled. Wow. I should
To
go
be
on a pick.
fair, it was really not a particularly neurotypical cast for that particular podcast.
It really wasn't, but neither is anything I do at the moment. But yeah, it's
Yeah. Sorry for getting a bit passionate there, everyone.
no.
But it points out how relevant the topics in this episode are, and the fact that Odo, because I disagree, Shawnee. I think Odo is a perfect example of what you're not supposed to be in society, where it's going, yes, it's comfortable, but but he does have an arc. He does agree, and it's so difficult. It's so difficult because he does have an arc where he basically says later, hey, okay, well, we could publish the story if we make it a dream.
Yeah.
So people can believe this story about a black person being in charge of a space station is okay, is acceptable if we end it with it being a shoeshine boy or a convict or something, which is very stereotypical negative, like
Tone
black
deaf.
roles. But going, oh, he wakes up and it's a dream. It's him dreaming of a better future, and he will compromise on that, and he does offer Benny more money for it. He goes, actually, yeah, I will publish this story in the next episode if we make it a dream. And then it turns out that he's giving him 3 cents a word, which I believe is more than Bashir gets paid,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. So it does show a bit of an arc there. So he does kind of put his neck on the line eventually, but it's the getting there compared to Herb, who is, but then how nuts it is, where Herb is literally he is fighting for everyone. He is being a very, very good ally throughout the whole episode, and it gets him called a communist. And
Yeah.
how many times have we had that? How many times have we had that where just by being a good person, you get called a left-wing lunatic, or you get called
Oh,
like some kind of crazy dreamer or something? And it's like going, you know, it's
I've been called a lefty loony who did a Mickey Mouse course, who doesn't know how the real world works, hasn't done a proper day's graft in his life. And it you get. I mean, this is the thing. Like where I live, it's it's yeah. And it's progressively got worse over the years, to the point where even if you look like me, you get judged for being a lefty loony. You get judged for being, oh, you're a socialist, and you don't want to work a day in your life, and you just want to live off the state and do this and play your video games and say that you're paralyzed in an eyebrow and go, and it's just like, no, I probably work as hard as you. I just work in a different way.
yeah.
And what I have found a lot of, especially quite recently, which has opened my eyes a lot, that a lot of senior managers in roles in different businesses, and I'm not going to mention what type of businesses, do not believe in mental health. Do not believe that there are mental health issues. That they believe that it's people using them as an excuse of getting out of doing hard work. And ironically, I actually had a word with someone, and again, not mentioning who, what, where, why, when. But they said, I didn't believe in mental health. I thought it was just all a scam, and that people would say, oh, they've got bipolar, they've got depression, because they didn't want to work and they couldn't be asked putting a shift in, or they needed a break, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
He said, then the pandemic hit, and then he got it. He understood why these people feel like they do, why some people feel isolated, etc., etc. And he said it fundamentally changed my perception on what I think is mental health. And he became more understanding and more tolerant of it. But there is a lot of people out there that don't believe. I mean, I have been accused.
I love that it took COVID to give them
it took
an Ebenezer Scrooge moment.
It took a global catastrophe to go, oh, well, actually, maybe it is real. But it's.
I love. We need to end this story with him waking up on Christmas Day, okay, and yelling to the neurodivergent kid in the street to go and buy the turkey from the biggest turkey from the store.
I had it in 2019 where a senior manager again basically said that I was lying through my teeth, that I was just making up this mental illness to get sick leave and to take time off work. And even with a medical diagnosis, even with a signed medical diagnosis with detailed medication and what I need, they still didn't believe it. They still didn't believe that this thing was real. And it really opened my eyes to the fact that, like, these are real issues that people go through, and everyone is, there's always, it is a spectrum of neurodivergence. But there are still people that just go, no, it's not real. It's not an issue.
This is the whole thing, though, where it's easier for people just not to believe something exists, and it shows that there's a war on empathy, effectively. Like the idea of going, hey, I don't want to think about what someone else might be going through. So, rather than going like, hey, I don't understand what it's like to be depressed, so it must all be nonsense. Like, I haven't experienced that myself. And, it's this weird thing, like, obviously, like everything, where we need empathy to understand the plight of what it would be like as a black person. Like, we are both white people. We are white as fuck. I mean, you're ginger, and this light is making me look like a fucking ghost. But it's the idea of, like, it's like it's not even Halloween anymore. But
I'm white and he's dead. We are the.
That's it. You don't get whiter than just dead, but it's the idea of like. But the fact of that is how important this episode is, because it
It's
allows us a
educational.
glimpse. We can't understand what it's like to be a black person in today's society. We definitely can't understand what it's like to be a black person in the 1950s where this is set. But this is a window into it and allows us to trigger the best empathy we can get to go, wow, that sounds like it sucks, and I think the episode does a great job of doing that, and that should be the point of cinema.
It's an eye
But
opener. It's an
yeah,
eye opener, and I will say, sorry to interrupt, but I will say that when this episode came out, I was 10 years old, and it opened my eyes, because a lot of people know, if you've seen Trekking Up North before, we were raised on Star Trek. I was raised on Star Trek since I was 2.5. So issues that I then became aware of later in life, I was like, oh, why is this a thing? Why is homophobia still a thing? Why is racism still a thing? Oh, and because of the way that Star Trek dealt with these issues, and showed us a future where they don't exist, and it's because people have got over this. People have, it's an acceptable form of life, and it was this episode. It was far beyond the stars, and this is again one of the reasons I put it in the Double Wheel of Honor. It was far beyond the stars that educated me on the plight that happened in the that has happened for centuries, and the fact that, I mean, look, like I said, this was the 90s, so the 50s was 40 years ago. So for comparison, this is like, imagine this is 1985. It's 40 years ago. So it's like, oh wow, this was still going. So you get it in school where it's like, oh, there was the S word and this and this and this, but then episodes like this go, oh, this actually only happened a generation ago. This was only 40 years ago. This was only 30 years ago. And then it makes you open your eyes and realize, oh, actually, the S word is still going on, and it's worse than ever on the planet. There is still institutional racism. There is still institutional homophobia, transphobia. And you're like, it's, and this was 1997, and I'm going, this is like the 90s. Why is this still happening? And now in 2025, I'm going, it's 2025.
Yeah.
This message, this episode should be a cautionary tale in history, what that we learned from, but it's still happening, and its message is still needing to be said.
And that's the cyclical nature of the episode, the fact that it's like it's a bottle contained within a bottle contained within a bottle, in terms of Cisco looking back at this previous time and going, hey, times are bad here, but they've always been bad in other bits,
Yeah.
And it's whether you see that as a positive or a negative. I don't know, it's absolutely fascinating. Like what you're I was going to make a point when you were talking about mental health earlier, about people not believing it exists because it makes it easier, or because they haven't understood it. Like the idea that people don't, like, there are white people that don't believe that sexism or racism exists.
Yeah.
Like I still have the discussion about sort of like going, where we get men who just go, no, there's no sort of gender pay gap or anything. No, that doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, do you know that? Because we still have it where companies are kind of going, well, we've got a man and a woman, but we've named the roles differently, so we don't need to actually pay them the same amount, kind of thing. And there's still a kind of, let's not talk about what we actually earn, because that would be really uncomfortable if everyone in the company knew what everyone was getting, wouldn't it? And we still have that, but then people refuse to believe it exists. People think that we're past this now. And yet we kind of go, hey, we're past racism. Look, black people can do all of this and stuff. And but then we're still talking about the people in boats. We're still, people are still putting bloody flags and, demonstrating national pride through racism, which is absolutely shocking. So it shows that there's always a fight still to be done. It's like with the, I'm not going to say the NAZI word because the stream will probably cut out. Thank you.
The
YouTube.
not
Removing all of the footage about a certain
The not
incident.
seeds. Yes,
Yeah.
the not
But,
seeds.
but all of that where we just go, that could never happen again, and then we look at the world now and we're like, no, we need to be fully aware of our history and stop it happening.
There's a short-term memory loss when it comes to people understanding history, and it is unfortunate, but it is cyclical. And it is wholly depressing that an episode, and we have said this time and time again about these amazing episodes of Star Trek that, you know, these are 30-year-old, 20-year-old episodes, but their message is still relevant and still needs to be heard. And we can't look at it as a piece of historical footage, a piece of historical what's the thing, like
we can't laugh at it and be like, oh, weren't they so foolish back then? And that's how amazing it was. Like, I think what the most interesting about this is like, you know, I have to say I was an early 90s kid and we lived in a bubble where it's weird looking back when you look at what television was like, where we basically, I don't know,
we didn't have the internet.
Well, no, I mean, like, what I'm saying is, like, we had, like, black people on TV shows, on very popular TV shows, but then they were kind of separate. Like, I remember being a kid and watching The Cosby Show, that aged badly, but watching The Cosby Show, but where, like, all the characters are in their own bubble, where they're all the whole cast is black and they're in black situations, and they're doing that. So it like and like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where, you know, maybe there's a couple of white people there and they were like friends or whatever, but they were so sort of cordoned off that they very rarely dealt with the whole kind of, racism and how people sit within, you know, like wider society. So the idea of, like, you know, DS9 and other shows, like, as it progressed, tackling it and basically sort of going, look, it's not it's not a thing over there, it's a thing everywhere, you know? Like, it was weird because as a kid I did kind of, like, you know, there was a disconnect, I think, in television.
I mean, like I said, we let's be honest, we're both 90s kids, and I absolutely understand that there was that bubble back then when it comes to stuff like that, but in real life there was a bubble when you think about it. You know, we are both from northern towns, shall we say, and we have not progressed as quickly as other parts of the country and other parts of the world.
I mean, the only suitable progression for Redcar and Middlesbrough is possibly a nuke, but
that would be an upgrade. That would be a major upgrade. I'm still convinced there is something in the water. I'm still convinced, because the amount of children that just stand in the road round here, it is frightening. It's like The Omen. Who was I telling? I was telling someone the other day. I went to reverse out of a parking spot, and there was a child just like stood there, but watching me, just like,
what? Did they not understand how cars work?
I don't think they understood the fact that there was a car coming towards them with reverse lights. But again, it was just. But it, you know, what my point is that you look at progressive towns and cities down south, or you look at for our American friends, look at coastal cities, LA, New York, and then look at a town in the center of America, a Midwest town, or anything like that. So it's roughly the same thing. And my point is, where in the 90s, again, our towns were predominantly white. They were predominantly white, working class people. And what we have seen, obviously, with, you know, as time has progressed, multiculturalism has become more and more of a thing, and it is spread throughout the country. And a lot of people yearn for those days where it's like, oh, I remember everything was better in the 90s and the 80s because we had this. Yeah. It's like, no, you should just say it. You didn't have different people around you. You didn't have different ideas, different religions around you. And it frightens you because it is not something that you grew up with. It is not something that you were accustomed to. And because everything is changing around you, you then get your back up. And then some of you decide to go hang out flags or say that the country is changing and stuff. And
how shocking is it that rather than sort of learning and understanding and gaining friends and becoming better as a person, people go, hey, let's throw people under the bus so that I can make the world smaller for me to live in, you know? Like it's really strange, actually, because I think about it, I was very lucky as a kid because I had a lot of multiculturalism in my school. Like we had like Indian kids, we had like straight up African kids and stuff, and that was quite a rarity like up north, I think. But it was the fact of like how, you know, that we had a really multicultural like class in like, you know, nursery school and first school and stuff for me. But I will admit, like, I don't think I ever went to any of their parties. I don't think I ever sort of like went to their house or anything like that. And, you know, obviously, you know, as a kid, and I don't blame myself for it, but it's the idea of just going, yeah, there was still a divide there, you know, in a way, even if I didn't understand, there was a kind of, oh, but you're over here, I'm over here. And that's exactly what we have in this episode. Like, we get it where Willie, so to go back to the episode,
Sorry to go back to the episode.
Sorry to go back to the actual episode.
Sorry to go back to the point we're all here, but yes, go on.
But it's a really important thing where Willie, Worf's character, is a very, very like popular, famous baseball player, and he still has this line of going, he's asserted a lot of privilege because he's a very famous person. But then they go, well, why are you still living here, and why aren't you living up city, like uptown, like with all of the other rich people? And he's like, because they wouldn't be able to accept that. Like, there's still a line of going, oh yeah, I'm at the top of the pecking order.
Yeah.
But I'm still not allowed to do this and not allowed to do that. There's still a societal divide, and how bleak that is. And I like that if they had have gone with the other plot line of having him get murdered because of an interracial sort of love affair with a white woman, and demonstrating that we can only tolerate you so far, which is a big problem we have in society. We can tolerate you so far because you're great at sports, you're a great boxer or baseball player. However, dating a white woman, that's too far. And because we get it where we get like, hey, we accept trans people, we accept gay people as long as they're funny on TV. But then when it's actually just someone on the, you know, so people all go, hey, Alan Carr's fine, Graham Norton's fine, Lily Savage is fine, got no problem with them, you know, like, or, you know, like all of the other, like drag queens and stuff, like Edna, like Dame Edna and stuff like that, which was a straight man, like, you know, playing a drag queen. All of that was perfectly fine. But then when it's actually in the real world, when it's actually on
when
their
you're
street,
faced
when
with
it's
it,
actually, they're like, oh well, that's not fine, and it's like, why? Like,
it's really hilarious because there's a similar comparison to mental health, and one of the big issues is masking. So one of the big issues I have is masking. I mean, who'd have known 250 hours on Twitch playing an American?
You're so good at masking, maybe you don't actually have.
I am so good at masking. One of the followers genuinely thought I was an American.
To be fair though, I couldn't even keep up the bloody Candy voice for like an hour when we were doing that stream together.
Your weakness disgusts me.
You do 8 hours as Truckwill.
Your weakness disgusts me. But getting back to so masking is one of the things that has been identified as what I do to cope. To deal with the situations. Now, you go on about companies where there's, we're really supportive of mental health. We are mental health allies. We do this, blah, 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 blah. They say this and they tout this until they actually have to deal with an issue surrounding mental health. And you would explain masking to them and say, I would do this. I would put on a charade for a shift because I feel low, but I don't want anybody to know. So I put on this charade. I put on a bubbly, funny self. And they go, that's fine. You shouldn't have to put on a mask. It's that. And then you explain how exhausting it is putting on. Because essentially you have to be another person. And to paraphrase Twitch, you have to be a character for 8 hours a day. And no one, unless they have done it themselves, realizes how unbelievably mentally exhausting that is. Right? So... You know, and then they go, oh, well, just you don't have to wear a mask around us. We're understanding of this. We're understanding. We're allies and stuff. So the day that you don't wear that mask, the day that you come in as your genuine self, who is quiet, who has the resting bitch face, who, is quite negative towards themselves, that is the day you are pulled to one side and say you are affecting other people. Your negative outlook is upsetting other people. Have you tried thinking positive? And then you go, yeah, you really have no fucking clue what mental health actually is. You just want to tout it to tick a box and then just carry on with people masking. And a lot of people that know, if you continually mask and you do not take that mask off, that is when you start to snap. That is when cracks start to form. And again, they are all for it. They are all for being allies. But as soon as it happens in their neighborhood, as soon as it happens on their doorstep, in their office, that's when they're like, oh, well, actually, maybe not. Yeah.
These people feel like they can wave a flag and feel like they fixed the world.
Yeah.
And the fact is, it's like, no, it's about real people, it's about real situations, and it's about being there for people through it. And yes, it's annoying when all you care about is getting the money, like doing the job, sort of being successful. The same way that the editor, like Odo, in this episode is like, hey, I don't want to wave a flag, I don't want to make a political statement. My whole purpose is to get this issue out and get paid for it. And it's the fact of going, well, maybe it's like things shouldn't be run for the sake of profits and money. Maybe things should be done for their actual artistic merit and their actual sort of worth to society.
The betterment of people.
What a crazy concept that is.
Yeah, but this is what this episode highlights. This is what this episode highlights. And the fact that in the background, Bear is going, I don't care. We'll get this episode done. We will do this episode. And he puts Avery Brooks in the director's seat. And everything just falls into place. And it is such a symbolic watershed moment for Star Trek to have this episode where at this point we had 30 years of Star Trek being, progressive and tolerant. And no one can deny it did not massively trip along the way. I love the fact, by the way, it is 9:10 and we're both drinking energy drinks.
I've had a full day of work. You have had a full day of Twitch. Yeah, we need this.
So it's massively. I forgot what I was saying now. What was I saying?
You're talking about the importance of. I've forgotten as well.
Being idle.
The importance of being idle. But
it's the importance of this episode. It is the importance, and Star Trek has massively tripped
up for it, and the fact of how important it is that this episode got made, even though there were probably people being like, "Hey, can't we just do something with explosions in?" Like as in what we get nowadays, where it's kind of false allyship, where they just went, hey, look, we threw a strong, we threw a strong independent woman in. Look how progressive we are. And it's like, yes, but you did it in a horrible way.
You made them monstrously overpowered.
You made a character that everyone hates, and you just kind of go like, that's bad, that's really bad. Like, imagine if they made this episode but Benny was a horrible, unreasonable bastard. Like, what if they made this episode and he was like punching the editor in the face and threatening him, saying, I'm gonna get my story published and stuff, and you can't do this. Like, they could have done that and turned the entire episode so it basically made Benny into an unreasonable person. And that's what I feel like a lot of the showboating sort of representation we get nowadays is. Like, but this does it so beautifully and so perfectly that we see the pain in Benny's sort of struggle.
I have to say that the quotes for this episode are just simply unbelievably good and still poignant to this day. Wishing never changed a damn thing.
I wrote that down. Wishing never changed a damn thing. Wishing never changed anything. Yeah.
The one with Kira. Where is it? There's one for Kira. Where is it? I've literally just seen it. There we go. If the world, oh, it's from Herb. If the world is not ready for a woman writer, imagine what would happen if they learned about an N word with a typewriter. Run for the hills. It's the end of civilization. And this is the thing. Like, I'll get back to the quote shortly, but this is another thing that this episode did. This is the first episode of Star Trek, and I believe it's the only episode of Star Trek that uses that word in the episode. And again, that is a watershed moment for this.
But it's relevant. Like, it's,
yeah.
I personally, on a personal note, I think we have an issue at the moment where people are like getting upset by words rather than intentions. And I think that word is really important here. And I kind of imagine that someone probably looks at this and goes, "Oh, I can't believe they had, a white person using the N word in this like episode in the, of Star Trek." And it's like, no, but it's relevant. It's really relevant the way he uses it. And it's from a position of like the intention behind it is good, and I think that's really important rather than fearing the word itself, fearing the usage of a word. Like fearing a word used to be hateful, used to be that. And and I don't know, I think it's important the way it's used in this, and it's great that that's in Star Trek.
The quote of this episode, the most poignant one, and this is why this was nominated for an Emmy, is the breakdown scene. Call anybody you want. They can't do a thing to me, not anymore, and nor can any of you. I am a human being, damn it. You can deny me all you want, but you can't deny Ben Sisko. He exists. That future, that space station, all those people, they exist in here. In my mind, I created it, and every one of you knew it. You read it, it's here. Do you hear what I'm telling you? You can't pulp a story. You can pulp a story, but you cannot destroy an idea. Don't you understand? That's ancient knowledge. You cannot destroy an idea. That future, I created it. It's real. Don't you understand? It's real. I created it. It's real. It's real. Oh, God.
Yeah.
And that's when he collapses onto the floor.
And let's not forget the bit before that, which I think is really important, is I'm tired of being calm. Being calm never fixed a damn thing.
Oh, yeah.
That is what I might say is my favorite quote in it, because it's true. It's the idea of everyone's just like, hey, chill out. Like, oh, well, like chill out. And it's the fact of going, yeah, but that's not going to get us anywhere. And yes, it might. Yes, it might. But one thing I want to talk about, because obviously we've massively derailed this. I have no idea where we're going with any of this, but
we're just talking about the episode. We don't have to cover scenes. We're just yeah.
One thing that I wrote down to talk about is I have conflicting feelings about this, because I'm kind of calling myself out on something, which is the idea of the problem with compromise, because there is an aspect of this episode like that where it's like, I'm tired of being calm. Calm never fixed a damn thing. And yet a lot of the time nowadays we're asking people to be calm. We're sort of saying, hey, look, we're fixing it. It's a slow process. We'll eventually get to it and stuff. Just keep calm and let the procedure do its work. Like, see what happens here, and we'll get to it. But then it's like, well, that's cold comfort,
Yeah.
like the idea that you can't just have what is morally right now. You can't just, why can't society just do that? And I think I find myself doing that, because I very much kind of go like, hey, let's not, riot in the streets right now. Let's just make sure we're making the right steps, like politically, and we're writing to the right people, and we're saying the right things, and we're doing all of this. But then what
Nothing
if it
changes.
doesn't? Like what we had like a couple of months ago with the fucking High Court ruling about biological sex and whatnot. And you're kind of going, after all that work and after so long of basically going, hey, just keep calm, it'll all get sorted. And then something like that happens,
Yeah.
and that is, being calm never fixed a damn thing, and it hits, I think. But And that's the thing, and that's what happens with Odo's character, where he compromises. He goes, hey, how about we do the story, but it has to be a dream.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it from where we are now, being like, why? Why does that change anything? Like, why couldn't they just publish it as it was?
Yeah.
And but then I'm talking from the position of going, yeah, it took us like 40 odd years to get gay marriage, from sort of like going from a place where, being gay was either, well, it was like, being gay was illegal to being legalized to being able to get civil partnerships to being able to get married to being able to adopt or whatever. That wasn't overnight, but then it's a bit shit that it wasn't. I think that's the point I'm making, like...
And another thing as well, in this episode, right at the end, there is a quote from the Bible.
Yeah.
From, and as O'Sullivan Shawnee's just said there, Brock Peters, who was also in To Kill a Mockingbird. He was the defendant in To Kill a Mockingbird. For I am already on the point of being sacrificed. The time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And it's so to reference the Bible in this, to bring religion. I mean, I know DS9 is a very religious series, but to actually bring what would you call it, Christianity, Catholicism?
Well, I think to fortify the reality in this episode with, because this is the whole thing though, like when we have racism, when we have homophobia, when we have transphobia, when we have sexism, all of it, we kind of look at the Bible and we just kind of go, hang on, this is the thing that you're swearing against. This is the thing that you're holding up as like this sort of this textbook for life, and you're sitting there being like, it says to do the exact opposite of what you're doing. Like the idea of like, so I love the idea of the Bible being involved in this episode to kind of go, hey, look, we're talking about racism, and that's a big deal in the Bible. Like the idea of treating people right, and yeah, sorry.
No, absolutely. It's an episode that warrants discussion on so many subjects, and we just do not have the time nor mental capacity to. I think this may be a re-review, or we may need to do a re-review or a part 2 of this, because holy shit, I mean, it is an episode that needs to be thoroughly unpacked.
Oh no.
What?
My screen is frozen. Oh, goodbye.
Have you died?
I have.
He's walked away.
I'll be back in a moment. Keep the stream going.
Okay.
Keep the stream going.
Okay, he'll be back in a moment, everybody. This is going to be fun. It's now just me. Okay. Right. But yes, what do you think in the chat? What do you think about this episode? Is Far Beyond the Stars one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek ever? What are your feelings towards the subject matter on this? Do you feel it went far enough, or it didn't go too far? What are your feelings on this episode? As an aside, we are also going to be at Destination Trek in 2026 in Blackpool to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. And as you all know, there is now 2 of me, so I'm going to quickly hide. He's broken everything. Where is it? There we go. I'll replace it with Synoiz's message. There we go. Where has he gone? There we go. I need to book for destination. Yep. So we're going to be there for the 60th anniversary. We're also going to go to STLV. So it's going to be, I believe, Trekking Up North. It's going to be the Clone Star podcast, Trek Culture, the Transporter Room, the Search for Trek. So just me again. And I think... I don't know, is anyone else going to STLV? Shout off in the description. Shout out in the description. Shout off in the chat. If you look down in the description below, guys, you will see a link for Trekcommendations. They are a fantastic new YouTube channel. started by Jason, and he is interviewing all of us lovely Trekkies on there. He has had delectable people like Chris, like Ellie Littlechild. Oh, hang on. Breaking news! Breaking news. Is he back? Is he back?
Hello, am I back?
Yes.
Am I back? Hey! Whoa, that was... My computer just had a full wobble. Full on wobble.
Did it have a full wobble? I was just promoting... You really caught me off guard, and I'm like, shit! Go to commercial! We're not on TV!
Cut to commercial! Damn it, we'll do it live!
I've actually got... Oh my God, I just realised I do actually have a technical issue. I do have a technical difficulty. But I'm an idiot, I forgot. But yes, Captain Goodwill's episode will drop on November the 17th. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. I do hope I didn't ramble. Because as soon as he started mentioning starships, I started bringing out the wall of bankruptcy. But yes, as we were saying, Far Beyond the Stars. I don't think one episode of Trekking Up North can cover this. I really don't think it could cover this because there was just so much more to unpack. We haven't even talked about these two here, Dukat and Wei Young as the cops, as the racist cops. We have not talked about them. And when Benny's been assaulted by them after they shot Jimmy, and you see the cutback of Wei Young and Dukat,
Dukat and Wei Young.
The Americans bleeding in. Sorry, hang on. I need an exorcism. Dukat and Wei Young.
That's gonna be Arnie.
And I can't give me the
Come on, Wei Young, I'm right here.
We must get to Deep Space Nine. Deep Space, no. But we see those little flashbacks all the way through the episode where we see Nerys in her military uniform reading the script, and we see Benny sometimes sees himself in uniform in the window. It's
the fact that the reality blurs. It very much paints this picture of going, what is real? Is Benny hallucinating and imagining these characters, or is it Cisco in the future sort of like slowly waking up and whatnot? Like it's wonderful that it does it. And I think part of it is to kind of remind everyone, oh yeah, by the way, that's the actor or something, because like it's a shame because it does it with Worf, where just like loads of people are probably like going, who's this Willie guy? What actor is that? And you're like, it's Worf, it's like
you can tell by the voice. But I mean, the thing is as well, because
you know what? I genuinely didn't know it was Martok. The first time I saw this episode, I did not clock that was Roy was Martok's actor.
JG.
And now I sort of watch it and I'm like, of course it is, but I genuinely didn't know.
It's really funny, not to be a lovey or anything like that, because my Facebook friend suggestions, it is off the scale at the moment, because I had a look the other day, and I swear to God, I swear to God, Terry Metalis, Alexander Siddig, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Garrett Wang. What else was there? There was Armin Shimmerman. There was Kitty, his wife.
Wow.
And I've sat down and I'm like, I couldn't add all of these people, possibly. I could not add all of these people. But it was there was someone from DS9. Who was it from DS9? It wasn't Michael Dorn, but it was someone from DS9. It was Sirach as well.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
But JG was on there as well. And again, you look at it and you go, JG, oh my God, it's Martok. Because you get that used to JG being in that prosthetic that you look at him, and then again, you look at Jeffrey. I mean, it's Jeffrey Combs, so we know it's Jeffrey Combs. But then you look at Mark Alimo there, and it's Dukat, and you're like, oh my God.
Can we just talk about, like, we're talking about Destination Trek earlier for next year. Jeffrey Combs is going to be there. Like, that is that's why we need to be there.
And
You
we've
know,
got all.
that's,
We're gonna have all access, baby. We are gonna corner Jeffrey Combs.
did we have all access last year? We just didn't use it because we basically got
Yes.
there and then went, oh cool, loads of stalls, and let's do this, and let's talk to this person, let's do this. And we're like, have we used any of this? No, no.
We will next year, so we can corner Jeffrey Combs. We can corner him and get him on the podcast involuntarily. In the disabled toilets. It's going to be the most confined podcast you've ever seen, and you may hear a leaking pipe, but we will have Jeffrey Combs.
That won't be a leaking pipe. That'll be my reaction to speaking to Jeffrey Combs.
Oh my god!
I've got my pictures from STLV last year where I got my wonderful picture with Jeffrey Combs. I'm very happy.
It's because you're friends with me, brother. Wink.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. If honestly, if Anson Mount does turn up next year, restraining orders are going to be needed. They are desperately going to be needed. 500 meters at least, just from his hair, because I will be taking some samples from his hair to clone him. All 7. Pike me. But it's
we need to get back to the episode.
We do. I just had a flashback from Greg's last night.
Oh god.
Do you have
the talk about any of this? Because if we do talk about it, what if the pilot never comes out? We're just like going that. No one will ever know that.
No one will ever know, and it will forever be a mystery. It'll be like Catwoman. But yeah, do you have notes about this episode? I assume that you do.
I don't know. Like it's, I think I'm looking over because what I did for this episode is I've got my normal notes where I basically say everything that happened in the episode, all the quotes and stuff like that. But then I've written separate page of notes that's basically all of the bullet points that I want to mention, and I think I've got them all in. I think the only thing I haven't got here is the idea of like. Because all I can do, obviously not being black myself, all I can do is like empathize and relate it to a situation I do know about, which obviously is queer culture. And one thing that I think is wonderful is this episode shows something that we didn't really get to see. Because in the 1950s, people weren't making movies about like people weren't making TV series about this situation. Like we like as white people we look back on the 1950s and media looks back on life in the 1950s and it's very whitewashed and it's not going into what it must have been like for black people in neighborhoods and whatnot. So I love that this episode does that, and it kind of goes, hey, this is a history that we might not have actually gotten. And I like the getting to see how good it was in places, like how close knit the culture is. Like when they're in the diner, when they're in the diner, when they're in the streets, especially when they're celebrating. Like obviously it ends really badly, but when basically he gets told that they are actually going to publish his story with these changes on it, and then he takes Cassie out for like dancing and cinema or something. And you get to see these amazing streets full of black people having a great time and jazz music, and it's wonderful. And you're just like, that's probably something that people didn't see because the white people didn't go to that neighborhood. They didn't get, and they missed out. They missed out on all of that amazing stuff. And that's how I feel about the queer community, because I've got like straight mates who like. They start coming out with me to like sort of my shows or whatever. They start coming out on the queer scene and they just go, whoa, it's so nice. Like everyone's chill and they're having fun and no one's fighting and no one's like yelling at each other. There's not like gangs of drunk girls like on a hen do pulling each other's hair out kind of thing. There's not like, like men sort of taking loads of drugs and beating each other up or whatever. And it's like, and I'm kind of like going, of course not. Like, why would that happen? And then you realize that there's such a big divide,
Yeah.
And like I'll go out like on, I'm gonna use air quotes, but the straight scene, and just go, whoa, how do people tolerate a lot of this? Because this is, like having to feel like going for a night out, paying money to get drunk, and then still feeling like you might get threatened or you might, have someone who's a shithead ruin your night, and you
Yeah.
just go, that's kind of awful. And so it's wonderful, kind of, I'm very lucky to have queer culture and to be able to be part of that bubble. And I just thought there was something wonderful about getting to see that sort of, like a bit of what black culture and black nightlife would have been like back in the
I mean, when you think about it, our
day.
nightlife is doing this on a Friday night.
But the fact is, that's probably because it's so shit. Like, if we went to your local, it would probably be utter wank. Like that.
Oh,
That's the
I
sad
would lose all my
reality of
teeth.
it,
I would lose all my teeth.
Yeah.
I would end up with an England flag up my arse, no teeth. And yeah, but it's to see that, and I mean, you touched on it there when we went out to support you last year, when you first met the former Mrs. Captain Goodwill, and that night out was absolutely tremendous. There was just so much. Yeah, but I mean, I still have the marigold that you threw at me. I
forgot about that.
I didn't.
I love how this is a recurring thing, because I remember when I was at DragCon year before last, Juno Birch, who's a very famous drag performer, basically they just threw a marigold at me as I was leaving and sort of hit me in the face with this marigold. And I was like, oh cool, I keep that. And I love that I've done that to you accidentally.
So it's a transitive, so this marigold
I think it
is
is.
travelling down south, one slap in the face at the time. But it was a different.
That's how marigolds migrate.
But it had been a while since I'd been to that sort of night out, and it was so refreshing to not feel threatened, to not feel I can actually get drunk here, and everyone is having fun, everyone is supportive, everyone is everyone is just loving each other and having a good time. And you look at our quizzes. Where it's the same vibe. Everyone is having a good time. There's fun heckling. There's not like you fucking, but it's like everyone is having a good time. And you feel comfortable and you feel safe. And to see that represented in this scene where the community is together, they're all having fun, they're all dancing on the balconies, playing trumpet in the street, and just laughing and having fun together is a side that many people probably never saw back then.
Yeah. And the thing is, and obviously this is a controversial remark, but it's the fact of what ruins it is when there's white people there. Like, as in, like, there are two white people in that whole scene, and it's the police officers. The police officers, when they shoot Jimmy, and, it's... and it's a juxtapose of going like, hey, we've got all this amazing stuff, but it can easily be ruined by people from outside of the bubble coming into it and ruining it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the same way, like, I remember there was a thing like a Northern Pride in Newcastle. There was a thing, like, I think it was last year, about having this massive Pride celebration, and it was absolutely wonderful and stuff, and loads of straight people take part in it, and it's like cool, because it's like, hey, cool, yeah, you're welcome in our space, just, don't be a dickhead, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And people who had been there all day celebrating and being part of Pride then got drunk and went on like homophobic tirades and punched people in the face and caused this massive scene. And you're just going, what the fuck? Like, you have literally, we let you into our space and then you did this. And it was this big sort of shocking moment of just going, really? Like, and yeah, I think respect the spaces that you're allowed into, I think, is the moral there. But I think we need to talk about the police officers, because obviously the scene with Jimmy is very important, but the more important scene, I think, is the first encounter with them. Like, that discussion there, which admittedly to me it feels strained script wise, but I think it's because it's very important that they put it in. Like, it's this kind of, it goes, like, I think
it's a device,
are kind of unrealistic, but I think it's really important to kind of go, this is what a lot of black people have to put up with. Like, we have it in America, where black people get stopped far more than like white people, and it's like going, that's not sort of left-wing propaganda. That is a like a fact, you know.
What they say in this scene, though, at the end of this scene, what they say where they go, "Oh, the whole damn city's going to hell in a handbasket." Now,
and you're like, and it's not because of fucking him.
Yeah.
You know?
But I've said that about where I live for an entirely different reason, and people have probably said it about where they live for loads of reasons. It just never changes. It just never changes. I do have a really fun fact about this scene, though. Do you want to hear my little fun fact?
Okay.
Just to lighten the mood a little bit. The boot print on the piece of paper when Benny unravels it in his apartment.
Yeah.
That's Jerry Ryan's.
Is it?
So what they needed, so obviously you've got the shoe print on the one that's on the floor and stuff like that. There was 2 versions. John Eves, of all people, needed a boot print on this picture. So at the Paramount studio, he saw someone in like military gear walking down a corridor. He went, "Excuse me, would you mind if you put a boot print on this picture?" They went, "Yeah, sure." And then he later realized it was Jerry Ryan as 7 of 9 in German French resistance costume from Star Trek Voyager.
From that episode of Voyager.
So there is a link between. Hang on, let me get the actual.
7 of 9 is technically in DS9.
This is the actual note. This is the actual note. Johnny stated in an interview that he was in charge of the Deep Space Nine drawing getting its footprint. And to accomplish this, he saw a woman in the corridors wearing combat boots and asked her to stamp on it. He didn't realise until he was told later, but that was Jerry Ryan in costume as she was filming The Killing Game Part 2 at the time, and that was part of her French resistance outfit. So The Killing Game, for those that don't know, The Killing Game Part 2 is set in it's in the European town, isn't it? It's in France.
Yeah.
Now that town
shit Canada.
Now that town is also Fairhaven redressed, which is on the Universal backlot in northern LA, right? So she had got into costume in Melrose, was then taken to Universal to do The Killing Game to get that filmed on that backlot. So by chance, Johnny's caught her on her way to Universal, and he said, "Please step on this," and she, without question, just went, "Yeah, sure," did it. And that's why there is a Voyager link in this episode, because it's actually Jerry Ryan's foot
now,
on this picture.
Be honest, if you'd been in that situation...
No, moving on. Let's move on.
Would you have asked Jerry Ryan to step on you? You would have got that boot print tattooed into your skin. That's what we need to do. If we ever get to meet Jerry Ryan at a convention, we just need to get her to step on, put this army boot on, and step on a Trekking Up North logo.
Oh, we should totally do that. We should totally do that. Honestly, that would be the deepest cut. Imagine we could sell it for charity at the quiz.
Oh, that'd be so good.
That would be so good, wouldn't it? Guys, do you think this is a good idea? Right, so what we would do, we would get an A4, A3, A4, A3?
A3's bigger, yeah.
A3, well, that's what she said. A3 copy of the Trekking Up North logo, right? And then when we go to STLV, if Jerry Vine's at STLV, we will pay hard cash, right? We won't even ask for a photo.
We pay for a signature in order to get a boot print. There we go.
We'll pay for a signature. We will buy the boot. Okay, we will buy a singular boot in her size, right? And we will say, "I know this is weird, but can you please step on this poster of our logo, and we're going to sell it for charity."
What if she gets deja vu, though? What if she gets, what is it, like...
Marina signed an autograph.
Yep, she did.
Marina signed an autograph. We can get Jerry Ryan to step on our logo. Oh, my God, this is amazing.
I do wonder how many times poor Jerry Ryan has to hear the phrase, "I know this might sound a bit weird, but," you know, like... I think everyone in her queue says that to her at some point.
But it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You're gay, I'm ginger. It's safe. So
Neither of us are getting anything off Joey.
we're both DEI hires.
Also, don't ever do this. Don't ever do this, Goodwill.
Do you know someone maybe someone maybe last week, right? I swear to God, they went, pretend. I didn't know I'm that stupid. They went, pretend that you are shaking salt onto your tongue.
I hope they donated a lot of bits.
Oh, they clipped
really
it. They clipped it. Of course they clipped it. I have, right, I think at last count, 53 clips. Do you know how many clips I've used? 3. Because I can't use any of them. I can't. Unless there are restraining orders, lawsuits, or death threats from Jess. I can't do it.
This is the best advert for following you on Twitch I think it is possible to get.
You really don't want to follow me. You really don't want to follow. I think, what was the first thing I said to Jess?
Everyone needs to follow Goodwill.
The first thing I said to Jess yesterday was like, I deeply apologise. You don't know why, but I deeply apologise. Yeah, so
we have gone on a tangent.
Yeah,
here,
but that is my fun fact, and honestly, I do think our idea of her stepping on our logo is.
I think we should try and do it.
We need to find her shoe size and a boot.
To go back to the scene, though, like, it's the fact of that the whole way it plays out is Benny is immediately cautious when he has to approach these police officers who have just stepped on his drawing because he's trying to get it back, and they're going, "Hey, where did you get a suit from? You know, who do you get the suit off?" And he's like, "I bought it," and they're like, "What? You're not allowed to buy suits, you know?" And then he's going, "Hey, why are you here?" And he's like, "Well, this is the building I work at." And he's like, "What are you, the janitor?" And it's this, and it throws all these stereotypes immediately, and they are so incredulous at the idea that there is a black guy, and they kind of prove the point of what Odo's character's saying, of people won't be able to believe this story if there is a black guy in a position of power in it. And it's really important, but I do feel this scene is very heavy-handed, but I do love it because and the fact that it ends really badly, which is basically them going, Ducat's character is like, we should bring him in anyway and check him for priors.
Yeah.
Prior offenses, and then all that stops that happening, okay, even though he's done nothing, he has literally walked out of a building and asked to get his drawing back that they stepped on.
Yeah.
And they're willing to take him to the police station. The same way as a black guy in a car nowadays getting stopped, not because he's speeding, but just because he is a black guy driving a car. You know,
Yeah.
and the fact that the only reason he doesn't get brought in is laziness, where Yoon basically goes, we've got places to be, let's not bother. So Ducat says to him, like, "Oh, well, you're getting off with a warning this time," you know, and it's just, it's so frustrating.
I feel that me and Synoiz cannot truly understand how that feels.
Yeah, I can't.
And it just must be awful. It must be absolutely awful. These are people who are in charge of protecting you. To feel frightened of them. It must be horrendous.
That is one thing that I've never ever experienced in my life, and I class myself as very privileged that I haven't, is that I've never been like on the wrong side of the police in that regard, just by existing, you know? Like, it's the fact of, like, you know, and that's purely because of the color of my skin. Like, there's never been a situation within my lifetime that, like, my sexuality has made people, like, police people stop me or, like, question me or say, "Hey, you're not allowed to do this," you know, or "You're not allowed to be here." Like, I've never had that. Whereas, and so, all I can do is try to empathize, but I class it as a very privileged position that I haven't been through that, you know?
Any other notes?
Cisco's dad, I hate him.
Really?
You know what I'm like. The characters I don't like in Trek is I don't like Kirk and I don't like Cisco's dad. I think the problem. Okay, I'm going to go on a rant now. So sorry, everyone who's
Oh
watching
God. Oh
who
God.
likes Cisco's
The
dad, because I
meat
know
is
he's a
running.
famous actor. I know he's a famous actor, but it's just he is a he's a bad character, and it's not the way he's acted; it's the way he's written. Where the fact of Cisco's dad is all he's like Keiko, where you're just going by the fact of going by them being ineffectual or them sort of being who they are, they create problems, like where they make other people's lives more difficult. Like, remember
All
the
right.
episode where Cisco's dad like refuses to do the blood test because he sees it as an invasion of his thing,
Yes. Yeah.
and get and that for me is a big. And we had a great discussion about it when we were talking about that episode. We had a wonderful discussion about it. Um, uh, and about the whole idea of going, oh, well, what's intrusive, what's rights, what's sort of acceptable and whatnot. But the way he handles it in that episode is what causes me grief, I think. But in
Yeah.
this one, like the beginning of the episode, okay, where Cisco is he's thinking about like leaving like Starfleet. He's thinking about giving up like being in his position of power because he's recently lost one of his best friends, where the entire ship and 400 like crew members got killed because of the war. And he's not sure what to do, and he's questioning stuff. And then his dad kind of just turns up and just goes, "Oh well, best make a decision then." And it's not supportive at all. It's not sort
Oh.
of like going, "Hey, I'll help you." He literally just turns up and then just kind of goes like, "Ah, well, isn't life a bit shit?" And you're like, aren't you meant to be giving advice or something? And
It just reeks of
and at
out
the
of touch parent, doesn't it?
well, that's it, and that's exactly what Cisco's dad is. He is
Yeah.
not a good parent, and I think he's a perfect juxtapose between him and Cisco himself, where
Yeah.
Cisco is the perfect dad. Like Cisco is, he's such a supportive father. Like he, even when he has the stuff he doesn't want to do, like when Jake says, "Hey, I don't want to join Starfleet. I want to become a writer," Ben Cisco is still kind of like, okay, cool, and it's that story of going, hey, I don't want you to be gay, but I'll you're my son and I'll deal with it kind of thing. And
Yeah.
that's what you need. That it's that supportive nature of going, it's not what I wanted, but I don't get to decide that. Whereas Cisco's dad is the epitome of going, why did you join Starfleet? Why aren't you working in a restaurant like me? Why aren't you following in my footsteps? Nothing is more important than my restaurant and my like small little world kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of character he is. And it's, you know, and it's a shame that that actor, like a very, very, like we're saying, he's in like To Kill a Mockingbird.
But
Like
he was Cartwright in the Undiscovered Country as well.
with that, but
Yeah.
that's a bad example because I'm going like, hey, let's give him some great roles where he's not a dickhead, and then obviously we have
He's a
Cartwright where you go,
Badmiral. Yeah.
he's a
I don't know
Badmiral.
whether to congratulate you or not, Jim. Ooh.
Yeah, but it's like, he's just sitting there but like, stop giving this guy like roles where it makes me hate him. Stop it. But like, but yeah, but as the preacher, he's not particularly a great role either. Like he does it
No.
really, really well, and I love the harks, but I don't know if it's a reference or not, but it reminds me very much of the preacher from John Carpenter's They Live.
All
Like,
right.
which is if you haven't seen it, watch John Carpenter's They Live. It is an absolutely incredible film. But especially today when we live in a world of bloody Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and all of that lark.
Yes,
But it's the
damn
fact that
YouTube.
it has a preacher in that, and it's very similar vibes from this, I think. But yeah, it's a good role, and he is the bridge between the two worlds. Like you get the idea of he's the only character in Benny's world that seems to be aware of Cisco existing and DS9 existing as well. But
But
yeah.
it's also, I mean, what I find fascinating is there is no mention of the prophets in this episode.
Hmm.
So we're already speculating that this is a vision. We don't find out that
Well,
this was delivered to the prophets until season 7.
No,
Yeah.
it is. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
telegraphed. I think because
It's
obviously
telegraphed, but it's
what
not
we-
directly connected.
it's not. It isn't directly connected, but I'd say it's implied. Like
Yeah.
when we say it's not connected, what we get is we get that kind of, oh, they didn't plan it. Like they didn't plan it to be from the prophets.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the episode has enough evidence to go, oh, that was the intention, even if they didn't outright say it. But we
Yeah.
do have the preacher talking specifically about the prophets and mentioning the
Yeah.
prophets and saying, like, you're the dreamer, you are the dream and the dreamer, which is alluding to season 8
Yeah.
a lot and the role of the emissary. But the fact of that it does show the link by basically having Bashir when he's actually in sick bay and they're going, hey, why is he hallucinating and stuff, and they're basically checking up on him, and Bashir's looking at the scan being like, I can't tell what's happening, this doesn't make any sense, however your brain scans are exactly the same as when you were getting all those visions from the prophets like
Yeah.
last year. And that basically to me is going, yep, the
Yeah.
prophets are the ones doing this. And I also kind of like the idea that there's a scientific reason for it, because the great thing about the prophets is that it still kind of goes, yep, they have godlike powers and they can disappear entire fleets and they can control time and do all of
Yeah.
this stuff, but there's still science behind it, there's still reason behind it, we just don't know what it is yet. And that's
Yeah.
the joy of Star Trek, being like, yep, if we wanted to, we could probably explain this, like, but for the moment it looks like magic, because magic is just science that we haven't discovered yet.
I have one final question before I ask you if you've got anything left. Do you think this should have been one self-contained episode, or do you agree with having the Benny Russell follow-up in season 7? Do you think they should have just left it with Far Beyond the Stars?
It's a difficult one. The thing is, I said to someone, okay, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast or privately with you, but a friend of mine who was watching DS9, because obviously he's watched the podcast, he's heard us harping on about how good it is. He was watching DS9 and he got to season 7 and he'd been absolutely loving it. And he got to season 7 and he got like 5 episodes in and he was like, I kind of think it's shit. Like,
Yeah.
this is not good, and I'm not really feeling it. And he was asking me, does it get better? Should I continue season 7? And obviously I went, yes, season 7 gets amazing.
Yeah.
But it's a rough start. And I pointed out that I think I really don't like the first 2 episodes of season 7. And that's specifically what you're referring to there, where it brings back Benny Russell. It has Cisco on the quest for the is it the orb? The orb of the emissary?
Yeah.
And whatnot, and it's the desert, and it's the introduction of Ezri Dax, and obviously Cisco's dad's there because he's like, I'm not going to let you go alone. I'm going to come with you and be an absolute fucking burden for the entire trip. And you're just sitting there, be like, great, Cisco's dad, you've really helped every situation you're in. I'm sorry, fucking hate him as a character, but it's. Because he does. He literally just goes, well, I'm going to come to this desert planet as well. Does he help? No.
No.
All he does is require Jake to help him at all times. But yeah, and it's good that he wants to be there, but at the same time, you just go, you could have helped better. But yeah, it's a difficult episode, but I do like Benny Russell coming back. I do like it being a part of the Prophet's plan for Cisco, is this Benny Russell character and what he represents.
Yeah.
I just hate how they implemented it.
Yeah.
So I would have preferred Benny Russell to be back in better episodes and throughout season 7.
I think that would have been
Maybe more.
amazing. Yeah. I think continuing.
But you're right. I love the idea of continuing the Benny Russell, so I don't think it should have been a one-off. But I do think when they brought him back, it was a bit shit. There we go.
I'm of two minds. A
What does the chat think? What
does the chat think? A self-contained Benny Russell, Far Beyond the Stars, perfect. Multiple appearances of Benny Russell throughout season 7. Not major, but just there again. Would have been brilliant, and it would have alluded to Bear's fantasy that DS9 is all in Benny Russell's head.
Could have done it like I think the plot of the Buffy episode where it does it is the idea of, like we're saying, like with these, like they probably planned with the aliens and stuff,
Yeah,
whatever, where it's all a test and it actually wasn't real and they were just making him do this. Like if they made it more of a sort of like a test for him, and they do that in the first episodes of season 7, but
Yeah.
not well done. I think if they'd done that, and that part of his overall arc through season 7 was that kind of, I don't know. The problem is they do the whole plot in the first 2 episodes of season
Yeah.
7, where they kind of go, hey, reaffirming his faith, reaffirming that he is the emissary and that he believes that he's the emissary and that is his destiny to do that, is covered in the first 2 episodes. But would it have been better if it was more of a journey over the course of the whole season,
Yeah,
with Benny Russell playing a bigger part?
I
I
think
don't know.
I think it's very difficult because we do love putting our 2 pence in to see how we
Yeah.
could have improved a season, how we could have improved an episode. But this one, it would be we would like to have seen, but we don't know how it would have been executed in that way. Like I said, it could have gone.
Because I think having Cisco having to question whether his reality is real would have been a better, bigger plot point.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
because it's touched on in this episode, but the idea of going, hang on, I think it's in the Buffy episode, they do it as a way to disable her, where they're going, hey, just live this comfortable life, and you don't need to do that, like just live in this little dream world, and then you don't need to actually fight the bad guys or win the Dominion War or anything. Like, that could have been a good tactic, but then it couldn't have been a tactic from the Dominion, because then it would diminish what this episode does with the prophets using this vision to sort of help Cisco. But you could see, like, yeah, maybe they hijack it. You know how, like, Kai Wynn, obviously, well, the problem is it would be the same plot, because Kai Wynn gets a vision and she's like, finally, the prophets are talking to me. And then it
yeah,
turns out to be the Par Wraiths that are actually giving her those visions. And that's kind of what they could have done with Cisco and gone, hey, look, here's loads of Benny Russell visions and stuff like that. But rather than being from the prophets like the last time, this time it's it's the Par Wraiths. But then the Par Wraiths don't work with the Dominion, and it wouldn't have worked yet. Fuck it. No, you can't improve this episode. I wouldn't
okay.
change a thing. There we go.
Do you have any other notes?
I don't think I do. I think we're never going to finish this if we keep doing it. But I love Cassie. I love Cassidy.
Her
in this
first
episode.
appearance for a long time is in this episode as well.
Is it?
Yeah, it's her first appearance in a long time. I believe it was a good few episodes. Let me have a look. Yeah, this is the first time Cassidy Yates appears since Rapture in season 5.
Bloody hell! Like
Yeah,
a whole season.
a whole season. So it was a bloody
That's what,
good.
you know what? That's what freaks me out when you watch the actual stuff. Like when you look at the Wikipedia pages or whatever, or the sort
Yeah.
of Memory Alpha pages, where it goes, "Oh, Garrick, 40 episodes of DS9," and you're like, "What?"
No, he was in way more. Yeah,
No,
because
but you
the thing-
see it, and it's
Yeah.
like Wayoon, 28 episodes or something.
Yeah.
You're like, no, he's in, and then you look at it, you're like, no, he is only in, like, and it's weird seeing it, and then being like, oh, Cassidy's in all the time, and then you're like, no, she's not. you
But
know?
again, don't you think that this is the beauty of DS9 because you become enveloped in this world, so you just think that they're there all the time.
But
That
the strength of the character, how well she plays it, makes you fully aware of all times, even though she might not be in the episode. Same
Yeah.
as Garrick, even though he might not be in the episode, he's still in that world, and you're still thinking about him, and you can still imagine him just off scene, like in his tailor shop doing stuff, or Cassidy off doing sort of like deliveries and whatnot, or marquee business.
saucy marquee business.
Saucy marquee
naughty, naughty.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah, O'Sullivan
Well, she
just
does
said
go
that.
to jail, doesn't she? She does vanish for a while because she goes
literally
to jail.
just said that she was making another show. She was written off, jailed for the marquee plot, and then the show got cancelled and she came back.
I did not know that, O'Sullivan, Johnny. That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
So, but yeah, so I think that has been our review of Far Beyond the Stars, one of my most favourite Star Trek episodes, if not the favourite Star Trek episode of mine of all time. If Synoiz has not got any notes, that means we need to move on to the challenge. Now,
One thing I just want to say, final thing I'm going to say, final thing about the whole thing is I did love where the preacher checks Cisco's paw. He checks Benny's paw.
Yes.
And there's blood on his fingers. That is when we're talking about it's not obvious that this is about the prophets or it's the prophets doing this. It is. That is the most like if they made everything piss yellow and had actors from previous scenes randomly appear and talk confusing bollocks, it couldn't have been more obviously the prophets, you know,
okay.
than that scene there.
Okay.
That is my final thing. There we go.
That has been our review of Far Beyond the Stars from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It is now time. It is now time for the challenge portion.
Oh, no. We haven't organised a challenge, though.
No,
we don't
I
have
have.
a challenge.
I have.
Oh, no.
I have
That's
organised it.
ominous.
So thank you so much to Duncan for submitting a challenge. I will use that next week because I need to go behind the scenes and add it and equalise it, blah, 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 blah. And I can't be asked doing that bollocks live on stream. I do that. Just no. But I will do it next week, so thank you so much for that. If you want to submit us a challenge, you can do so via the Discord page in the link down below. Or you can contact us at trekkinupnorth@gmail.com to submit your own challenge via portrait mode or 9:16, as in landscape portrait on your phone. I have a challenge for Science Officer Synoiz. Okay. Now, very much like me, it is hard but also easy. So
that is how I describe you.
Thank you. This will determine, Synoiz, if we spin on the double wheel of honor or the double wheel of shame. Oh. Now, this is a really easy question for you. So if you fail, you will be ridiculed.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
You will be ridiculed by the audience, okay? The challenge is thus.
Okay.
Science Officer Synoiz, can you name me the mother of Kira Nerys? What is her name?
The mother of Kira Nerys.
I like this. I can set him challenges. It's great. We'll get through the double wheel of shame in no time.
Kira Mrs.
You are close. It begins with an M.
Okay. Mrs. Kira.
No. I said you were close, Pillock. No one tell him in the chat either. No one tell him in the chat.
Tell me in the chat. Okay.
No, don't tell him in the chat.
Oh God, it's that. Oh, I'm trying to remember the episode. Where
You've got all the time in the world. You've got all the time in the world.
To Google.
Oh.
I'm not going to get it. Okay, I'm going to make a guess. It's what is Kira's mum called? What is Kira's mum called? And it's in that episode where she's Ducat's lover.
I've just had to remove it from the chat because someone put it in the chat.
Hold on, maybe
do not put
it
in the chat. I've removed it. It's fine.
Damn it. I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna take a guess.
Go on.
Mark.
You are so close, yet so
Kira
far.
Mark.
It is Meru. Nerys. It is Kira Meru.
Why did you think I would get this? Why did you have this?
You love DS9. You uncivilized
I
what?
love DS9, but I don't know. She's in 2 episodes. She gets named in 1.
Kira. It is Kira Meru, and then obviously the father is Kira Tabon.
Oh yeah.
That means everybody, we have failed. We have failed, and it's all Synoiz's fault. I feel so much better about my life choices now.
Ever closer to move along home. We're ever closer.
That means we get to use the double wheel of shame. Insert brand new stinger. Oh, I love that.
It did fancy. Oh, would you believe?
I tell you, that took me all of 20 minutes. Oh,
look at the shine on it.
I tell you, it's all. I shined. I increased the shine by 37%.
Ooh, I love a bit of polish.
I also used a warp noise as well. I used the warp noise of a Romulan warbird. Ooh.
I love also O'Sullivan Shawnee in the chat being like, I put it in before you said not to. And I love the idea that I get set a challenge and he immediately goes, yeah, fuck it, let's answer that.
It's absolutely
This is
fine.
what we need. This is what'll help us get through the challenges. Just people in the chat cheating, like helping us cheat.
Martha, my God, how delayed is the chat, by the way? How delayed is the chat on our system? If people are still guessing, it was 5 minutes ago. Welcome, everybody, to not the Dabble Wheel of Honor. It is. We have to change it. We have to change it. Welcome, everybody.
I love your optimism. Your optimism that I would get it right.
I know. I had faith. I had faith to believe, and like UPN, you cancelled it. Welcome everybody to the Double Wheel of Shame. If this is your first time watching Trekkin Up North, first of all, I apologise. We normally go longer than this.
You've survived quite well.
You have survived. You have survived and deserve a sticker. Welcome to the Dabble Wheel of Shame. If this is your first time, we have a Dabble Wheel, and in it, Science Officer Synoiz has programmed all the episodes of Star Trek known to man, huge asterisks. And what we have done, we have refined those episodes into 24 juicily...
It was 24, I believe it was 12.
Was it 12 and 12? Yeah, 12 and 12. So 12 good episodes and 12 bad episodes. Now... because Science Officer Synoiz humiliated himself in front of literally tens of people.
It's like a weekend in Berlin for me, if I'm honest.
But enough about Berlin. we now have to spin on the Dabble Wheel of Shame. So what happens is, this is easy compared to my first episode of... this is easy compared to, yes, it is. Yes. It changed the very course of the show, that episode. At least we get to play Elite Force now. We spin the Dabble Wheel, and whatever it lands on, first and foremost, we must yell at the top of our lungs, Dabo. You must put in the chat, Dabo, and you must comment down below, Dabo. And whatever episode it lands on, unfortunately, we must review it in the next episode. And I think whatever it lands on, no matter what, we need a guest. I think this could be a trial. I think this could be...
This is going to end a fucking friendship, though, if we get Code of Honor and we're like, come on.
Leela's in the chat.
Who wants to join us to review Code of Honor?
This could be the initiation rite of Jason from Trek Recommendations, I think. I think if we get him on for his first episode and he gets Code of Honor, he will quit podcasting full stop. He will become a nun. He will move to a church. He will like Babylon 5. It will be fantastic. I know.
Let's not go too far. You went out the realm of possibility there. You know, it's like...
Okay, now...
maybe if it was a dream of someone enjoying Babylon 5, that would be more believable.
Dreaming never did a damn thing. Now, I always say this, and I know exactly what he's going to say. Next episode for the Dabble Wheel of Shame, what do you want? Sub Rosa again. I know it's going to be Sub Rosa again.
I don't know.
I think for our 200th episode, we should do Sub Rosa.
The problem is it's getting close, and we've joked for a very long time, probably since the beginning of this podcast, about when we have to review Code of Honor, because it's there. It's that black shape on the horizon. That's a bad choice of words.
That's a hugely bad choice.
That's a really bad choice of words. So let's just
demonetized.
A dark shape on the horizon.
Oh God!
Oh God! It's got a climbing frame, but it's... oh God!
What do you mean? I have to hit fluorescent? I have to hit fluorescent tubes. I'm wearing nylon, you idiot.
But the problem is, it is in the Dabble Wheel of Shame, And every time we review an episode from the Dabble Wheel of Shame, the possibilities get lessened. So it's getting dangerously close now.
I do
so I'm
you a
not
deal.
going to wish for Code of Honor.
I do you a deal.
Move along home. That's what I want.
I'm going to do you a deal. Okay.
I can be
all right. All right. Yeah.
Imagine I just dob you in. That's like throwing a grenade in the room and stepping out.
I get 5 weeks of elite force because he's just left.
that shit out.
For those that don't know, today, he literally messaged me this afternoon and went, "Shall we do it live at 8 o'clock?" And I'm like, shit.
The problem was, it was, that thing where in your head, you're like, oh, well, we didn't say we weren't doing it, so we're obviously doing it. And then I was like, sort of 3 o'clock, and I was just kind of going like, should I message him and make sure we are actually doing it? And then I did, and you were like, I assumed we weren't because we hadn't discussed
I had literally set up everything for Elite Force Part 3, but I could not eat and rebuild everything. I love the fact that Jason's
just assume everyone knows my schedule and knows, oh yeah, actually you can do tonight, It's like,
I mean, you sent me your schedule once and it was just, I love the fact that Jason's just gone, I'm not free next Friday, so you can do Elite Force. We can record it. I say two things. If we land on Code of Honor, two things are going to have to happen. One, it has to be live no matter what.
Yeah.
Two, there is going to be a copious amount of alcohol consumed.
We have to be drunk. I think we have to be drunk for it.
And I will also decorate the ready room of the adequate in Hawaiian style because I'm going to need something to cheer me the fuck up after watching it. I didn't do it for a logium, and I genuinely felt I nearly called the crisis team from reviewing that.
I'll just build a climbing frame behind me.
Oh God, I actually do have fluorescent tubes. Should I just put in some like fluorescent tubes?
I think what we should do is probably spin the wheel and see, and then deal with the consequences when we know them.
Okay, everybody. Oh God, that is a.
Are we all ready to say Dabo, everyone?
Hang on, it's like 3,000% big. There we go. Right. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Oh,
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, shit.
I was not expecting this, and it is fucking awful.
Oh, shit. This is my choice. Oh, shit. Oh, God.
What's that knocking at the door, Goodwill? It's consequences. That's what you get for putting that shit in the Dabo wheel.
I may.
Are you going to be off next week? Is that what we're saying?
I may do Elite Force next week.
Magically, I've got COVID next week.
Can we just do the after show of Stardew Sea? Oh, God. Star Trek Picard, Season 1, Episode 5, Stardust City Rag.
Was it hard picking a terrible episode from Season 1 of Picard? Was it hard picking the worst episode of Season 1 of Picard?
It was Jean-Luc trying to do a French accent.
The whole setup for the entire episode is utter bollocks.
It was Jean-Luc Picard from Le Bay, France, trying to pretend to be French. Now, I'm going to say this again with all sincerity. Jean-Luc Picard from Le Bay, France, pretending to be French.
It's, you know what it's like? It's almost equivalent to a black person doing blackface, and you're just sitting there being like, but what is going on?
It's
here?
like me.
So terrible.
It's like me pretending to be ginger by going fiddly dee. It doesn't work.
Well, you do say that quite a lot.
I do, and you will never get my Lucky Charms. The synopsis for this god-awful prolapse of an episode. The La Serena crew begins an unpredictable and lively expedition on Free Cloud to search for Bruce Maddox. When they learn that Maddox has found himself in a precarious situation, a familiar face offers her assistance.
Also, let's just think about how this episode starts. Ugh.
How does it start?
Icheb.
Oh, God. And it's not even Icheb. It's not even the Icheb.
To be fair, though, that's because he became a dickhead, the actor. But, yeah.
Oh, I don't have a uniform for this.
You just have to dress up as a badly translated French person.
I'm kind of glad because I do need to lose some weight. This uniform is struggling.
Do you have a beret?
Maybe.
I think we both have to wear berets.
How does Picard look in this? Hang on. Should I go as Rios as a pimp?
Yeah, I think that's what we need, everyone.
Should I dress as a pimp?
We need to dress up.
Okay, so there's one of two cosplays. I can either go as a pimp, or I can go as Picard in a beret with an eye patch pretending to be French. Oh, I feel sick to say.
I will be wearing an eye patch and a beret next week. I'm guaranteeing that.
Okay.
I'm going to do the entire episode without depth perception. I'm going to suffer for my art.
Do you know what? I'm going to go as Bruce Maddox in this episode, crying, bloody, and with facial hair. I think it's only fitting. I'm just going to dye my hair grey.
I think my controversial opinion before we even get to the episode is that Icheb got the easy way out here. Like, because he didn't have to be in the rest of Stardust City rag.
I might go 7 as 9. I might just go 7 as 9. It can't get any worse. It can't get any worse than that, surely.
Well, at least this is some modern representation in the Dabo world.
Can I dress up as Alex Kurtzman and pretend to apologise?
We're sorry.
But, computer, take us back to two-person mode.
Oh, it's very fancy, isn't it?
Oh,
would you believe? Oh, it's all fancy.
It's all fancy.
Yes, but thank you, everyone, for joining us there. I hope you will join us next week. Where
I really hope you don't. I really hope you don't. Unsubscribe
different
now.
Thing. We've gone from reviewing one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek, possibly one of the greatest episodes of a sci-fi series ever, to reviewing an episode amongst, like, how you get a pile of wank and decide that part of it is actually wankier than the rest of the wank is...
Do you know what made it worse? Right.
I'm pretty sure the whole episode is pointless. I'm pretty sure the entire episode is nothing happens.
I remember watching this, right, and thinking, and this is how bad it is. I remember watching. I remember. That's the first issue.
I've seen you on Twitch. It's
right. I remember watching this and thinking, nothing could be as bad as this, right? Then I got COVID the week later, and then the pandemic happened.
It was like a harbinger. It was like a harbinger of, like, awfulness, this episode.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. All right, well, at least it's not Code of Honor, but we are getting closer.
We're chipping away at it.
I'm telling you, that's going to be our Christmas special, isn't it?
Christmas.
That's going to be the Christmas special, the Code of Honor Christmas special.
I love the idea of all of the other podcasts who pick their episodes in a far more sensible fashion than we do. And going like, hey, let's do a Christmassy episode for Christmas. And we're just like, what?
Let's review the most racist episode of Star Trek imaginable. Happy Christmas.
Could it be the episode where no one doesn't regret being there?
Hang on, I need to go. Where's December? There we go. Oh, so it could either be my birthday special or Boxing Day special.
Would you allow us to do Code of Honor for your birthday?
On my birthday, to be honest, the rest of the year has been shit. Let's go out with a bang. Let's just go out with a bang. I'm going to be drunk for it. You'll just see an IV drip.
I actually think we should probably do it in person. I think if it's for your birthday, we should have a birthday party. Because if we're gonna do an episode on your actual birthday,
of just two of us.
Just two of we
of
should
us.
just be in the room getting drunk, doing whatever episode that we're reviewing.
Oh my god, should we? Should we do that?
I can come down to Redcar. I can lower myself.
No, I'd rather come up to yours. It's safer. And you won't see the bodies rotting. Okay. So the next episode is either going to be Elite Force Part 3.
Or Stardust City
Are you free?
Rank.
Are you free next Friday?
I'm pretty sure I am.
You're pretty sure you are. Silver lining, you get to see my face at the end.
Yeah,
What? In Stardust City
it's
ranks?
In a couple of weeks I can't.
Wait, hang on. Hang on. Duncan,
Duncan, are you in?
are you in
Stardust City
Are you in
ranks?
Stardust City ranks?
Hold on, we need to get higher.
Hang on, yeah, hang on. I need to modulate my voice. Hang on, let me put the modulator on to attain.
That's cheating.
That's
cheating.
I'm allowed. I'm watching Stardust City Rags again. Hang on, modulator, high pitch. There we go. Are you really watching Stardust City Rags?
Are you in it?
Are you in Stardust City Rags?
Oh, he's talking about the challenge.
Oh!
Okay, that's fair enough. I was gonna say, like, bloody hell.
All right.
Although I did love the idea that my mind was just like, good on him for being in an episode and talking about his career in Star Trek and deliberately missing out the fact that you're being in Stardust City
I would
Ranks.
love the fact that he's like, and the one good thing was Duncan appears. That's it. I was Echep. Don't you face palm me, we're tired. Okay. All right, so next week we'll be reviewing Stardust City Rag from Season 1 of Star Trek Picard. I have been Captain Goodwill of the USS Adequate. He has been Science Officer Synoiz of the Starship Adequate. Down below you will see all the links for all of our socials and all of our friends. It is an order of your captain that you go and follow each and every one of those links. Tell them the captain sent you. If you like this video, please click like. If you are not a subscriber of Trekkin Up North, what are you doing? Tell the world that we are here. Click that subscribe button. Get everyone you know to get that subscriber button because I want to make this grow. I really do want to make this grow.
We have amazing fans. Like since
do.
you set up that Discord, the chat is lovely. Like I do not do Discord. I do not have the time to be in Discord and stuff. But the fact is, whenever I do sign in and check it, I'm just like, everyone's having these wonderful discussions. Everyone's been really chummy with each other.
Have I disabled the pitch?
Channel for memes and stuff.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilariously. I probably wouldn't have told you if you hadn't. But
thank you so much for coming.
But yeah, like do that. I definitely recommend the Discord, and and everyone in the chat today has been amazing. It's been absolutely lovely.
Thank you so much.
Also, listen to my music, please. I wanna.
Yes.
I still haven't. I was meant to release the album. For Halloween, I failed.
Release the album.
Release the music files.
Release the MP3 files.
But yeah, go to Synoiz, synoiz.com/horrors and give it a listen to on Spotify because I'm very proud of it and the full thing will be coming in time.
In
when I can
time.
get happy with my singing.
Speaking of getting happy in time, we've got 7 days before we fall into a deep, deep depression. He has to find a beret. I need to find a pimp outfit and a cigar.
I have a pink beret already, but I don't know if I'll get away with that.
Do you have an eye patch?
No, but I could sew one.
What, into your eye?
It means I only have to watch. It means I only have to watch half of Stardust City Red.
I'm only watching it for Cristobal Rios. I am only watching it for Cristobal Rios. What? Oof. He could melt my butter. Right. Until next week, I want everybody to live long and prosper, look after yourselves, and as ever on Trekking Up North. Miles? Miles? Miles?
Your sorbet sucks now. Get out.